Just hours after U.S. forces seized yet another oil tanker off Venezuela's coast, the story has taken another dramatic turn. The United States is now actively pursuing a third vessel in international waters. This comes as the Trump administration intensifies its campaign against what it calls a shadow fleet, helping Venezuela skirt sanctions under President Nicolás Maduro. With military and Coast Guard assets deployed, the Caribbean has become a new flashpoint in a mounting confrontation over oil, sanctions, and geopolitical pressure. U.S. forces are now chasing another sanctioned oil tanker near Venezuela, just hours after seizing a vessel linked to what Washington calls an illegal shadow fleet. According to Reuters, a U.S. official confirmed that the Coast Guard is actively pursuing a tanker flying a false flag and operating under a judicial seizure order. The tanker have not yet been boarded, but U.S. officials say interceptions can include close naval or aerial tracking, not just physical seizure. The pursuit follows President Donald Trump's blunt warning earlier this week. Trump announced what he called a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving Venezuela. The move marks a sharp escalation in Washington's pressure campaign against President Nicolás Maduro, targeting oil shipments accused of evading sanctions and funding illicit activity. White House officials say the seized tankers were operating on the black market. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said the vessels were supplying oil to sanctioned countries and insisted U.S. consumers should not fear price spikes. These were black market ships, Hassett said, adding there were only a handful involved. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem issued a stark warning after the second seizure. In a statement, she said the U.S. would continue pursuing sanctioned oil used to fund narco-terrorism in the region. Her message was unmistakable: "We will find you and we will stop you." Oil traders are watching closely. One trader told Reuters the seizures raise geopolitical risks and could push oil prices higher as Asian markets reopen. Since the first tanker was seized, an effective embargo has already taken shape. Multiple vessels loaded with millions of barrels of oil are now staying in Venezuelan waters rather than risk interception. For now, the blockade is not just a threat, it's already reshaping movement in the region.
U.S. forces on Saturday stopped an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela for the second time in less than 2 weeks. This as President Donald Trump continues to ramp up pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. The pre-dawn operation comes days after Trump announced a blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers coming in and out of the South American country, and follows the December 10th seizure by American forces of an oil tanker off Venezuela's coast. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirmed that the U.S. Coast Guard, with help from the Defense Department, stopped the oil tanker that was last docked in Venezuela. She also posted on social media an unclassified video of a U.S. helicopter landing personnel on a vessel called Centuries. A crude oil tanker flying under the flag of Panama operates under the name and was recently spotted near the Venezuelan coast, according to Marine Traffic, a project that tracks the movement of vessels around the globe using publicly available data. It was not immediately clear if the vessel was under U.S. sanctions. The action was a consented boarding, with the tanker stopping voluntarily and allowing U.S. forces to board it, according to a U.S. official who was not authorized to comment publicly and spoke on the condition of anonymity. Trump, following the first tanker seizure of a vessel named the Skipper this month, vowed that the U.S. would carry out a blockade of Venezuela. It all comes as Trump has ratcheted up his rhetoric toward Maduro and warned that the longtime Venezuelan leader's days in power are numbered. And the president this week demanded that Venezuela return assets that it seized from U.S. oil companies years ago, justifying anew his announcement of a blockade against oil tankers traveling to or from the South American country that face American sanctions. Trump cited the lost U.S. investments in Venezuela when asked about his newest tactic in a pressure campaign against Maduro, suggesting the Republican administration's moves are at least somewhat motivated by disputes over oil investments, along with accusations of drug trafficking. Some sanctioned tankers already are diverting away from Venezuela. The targeting of tankers comes as Trump has ordered the Defense Department to carry out a series of attacks on vessels in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific Ocean that his administration alleges are smuggling fentanyl and other illegal drugs into the United States and beyond.